Welcome back, everybody. For today's deep dive, you've sent in some fascinating stuff about AI in action.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing how AI is shaping our world.
It really is.
Right.
We've got three key areas to explore today. AI and elections, the
Oh.
creative explosion around AI art tools like Red Panda,
Right.
and then how AI is being used in emergency
It
response.
really is incredible how AI has gone from like a theoretical concept to something that's actively shaping our world. And the discussions happening right now on X just show you how much people are grappling with all the implications.
Yeah, for sure. So let's jump right in and tackle AI in elections first. It seems like such a double-edged sword, doesn't it?
It is, yeah.
With the potential to both strengthen and undermine democracy.
Exactly. And one major concern is AI-driven misinformation.
Right.
These algorithms can analyze data and predict user behavior so accurately,
Uh-huh.
but that means it can also be used to target people with really, really personalized and persuasive misinformation.
So even those AI curated summaries we see on X, the ones that are supposed to help us get a quick grasp of a trending topic,
Right.
those could actually be feeding us biased narratives.
Yeah, that's the real danger. I mean, they're designed to increase transparency, right?
Yeah.
But if the algorithms themselves aren't carefully designed and monitored,
Uh-huh.
they can actually end up reinforcing existing biases and creating those echo chambers.
That's a bit unsettling. But I'm assuming people are working on ways to use AI for good in elections too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. There's a growing movement to develop AI tools that can actually detect deepfakes
Hmm.
and flag potentially misleading content. Actually, X is already using some AI-driven summaries to try to provide context and counter misinformation.
Oh, interesting. So it's like a tech arms race in a way.
Kind of.
AI being used for both attack and defense when it comes to information.
Exactly. And it's not just a battle being fought in the tech world either. We're also seeing legislative responses emerging.
Yeah.
Yeah, like those bills in California. Those are aimed at addressing deceptive media in elections.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
It's really making us rethink how we protect our democracies.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit and dive into this red panda phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's really been lighting up the art world.
Yeah, it
hasn't it?
has. And it's fascinating. This isn't just another art tool. Red Panda is fundamentally changing how we think about making art.
Hmm.
And what's really amazing is how many different types of people are embracing it.
Yeah.
From professional artists to total beginners.
I've seen some pretty incredible stuff coming out of the red panda community on X. It seems like people are using it for everything.
They are, yeah.
From generating these realistic portraits
Yeah.
to, dreaming up these fantastical landscapes.
It goes way beyond just traditional visual art too. People are using Red Panda to visualize concepts in literature, architecture, you name it.
Hmm.
It's really breaking down the barriers between different creative disciplines.
Yeah.
Mm.
I've also read about marketers using Red Panda to create content for their ad campaigns.
Yeah.
And even some tech companies using it in brainstorming sessions
Uh-huh.
to visualize their ideas.
It's having a real impact on how work gets done.
It is.
But like any disruptive technology, there are some challenges.
Yeah, originality and copyright. I mean,
Right.
if an AI can just create art from a prompt,
Mm-hmm.
who owns the rights to that creation?
It's a great question. Yeah. It's a real legal and philosophical minefield.
It is.
And then you've got the whole issue of, AI potentially copying the style of a human artist without their consent.
Hmm.
It's a tough one. We're still trying to figure out how to even create legal frameworks for these new realities.
It seems like that Red Panda community on X is really playing a crucial role in shaping this conversation, though.
Yeah.
There's just so much debate happening about the ethics of AI art, but also all this amazing collaboration and challenges that are pushing the boundaries of what's even possible.
It's such a dynamic space. And it's not just about showcasing cool new creations. It's about tackling those fundamental questions AI art raises about, creativity, ownership, the future of art itself.
Absolutely. Speaking of tackling tough questions,
Yeah.
I think it's time we shift gears to AI in emergency response.
Okay.
This is where AI can really make a difference.
It really can. We're seeing it being used to analyze these huge amounts of data.
Yeah.
Everything from weather patterns to social media posts.
Mm.
It's enabling authorities to respond to disasters so much more effectively.
Yeah, it's almost like having this superpowered assistant
Right.
that can help us anticipate and prepare for the worst. But I imagine there are also challenges and concerns, right?
Oh, of course. One big one is reliability.
Uh-huh.
These systems have to be incredibly accurate,
Yeah.
especially when lives are at stake. Another challenge is making sure these AI-powered tools are accessible to everyone,
Yeah.
not just those with like the newest phone or the fastest internet.
That's a good point.
Because in a disaster, reaching those who are most vulnerable,
Yeah.
that's often the biggest challenge.
It is.
And technology can either help with that or make it worse.
Yeah, that's true. And how much should we rely on AI in these situations?
Right.
Like, do we really want algorithms making decisions that could have, such huge consequences?
That's a valid concern, yeah. It's about finding that right balance between, using the power of AI, but still maintaining human oversight and control.
So it sounds like the role of AI in emergency response is still evolving.
Definitely, yeah.
Lots of technical and ethical hurdles,
Yeah.
but the potential benefits are huge.
They are massive, and platforms like X are really important for these conversations. It gives experts, policymakers, and regular people a place to share their thoughts and concerns and ideas about how to use AI responsibly in these situations.
We've got some great examples of that in our sources, like that interview with the meteorologist, talking about how AI is impacting weather forecasting and insights from those community leaders working to make sure these AI tools are inclusive and benefit everyone.
It's encouraging to see how much thought and effort is going into making sure AI is used ethically and effectively in emergency response. This is a conversation that's just going to keep growing in importance.
It is. Well, that brings us to the end of part 1 of our deep dive into AI in action. We've covered a lot of ground, but there's still much more to explore. Join us for part 2, where we'll continue unraveling these fascinating and complex ways that AI is shaping our world.
See you then, and welcome back to our deep dive into AI in action.
It's been a wild ride so far.
It has.
From elections to AI-generated art, it feels like we're on the cusp of something huge.
We really are, yeah. What's fascinating to me is how AI is making us re-examine our values. Things we took for granted are suddenly up for debate.
It's like AI is holding up a mirror to us, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
It shows our ingenuity, but also all of our anxieties.
Exactly. And it highlights how important it is to have thoughtful discussions, about how to develop and use this technology responsibly.
Yeah, because if we're not careful, it could get away from us.
It really could.
Okay, well, let's bring it back down to earth for a sec.
Right.
We've seen that AI's impact is everywhere, but it seems like there's this recurring theme. The idea of AI is like a double-edged sword.
Absolutely. It's this constant tension, incredible potential on one hand, and very real risks on the other.
Like with election integrity.
Yeah.
AI could be the answer to fighting misinformation.
Right.
But it can also be used to create even more sophisticated and persuasive types of deception.
Exactly. And then with Red Panda, amazing potential for artistic expression, but it also brings up these really tricky questions.
Yeah.
About ownership, authenticity, the role of the artist.
Even with emergency response, where the benefits seem so obvious, there's still that concern.
Yeah.
Over-reliance on AI, the potential for bias, the need for a human in the loop in these critical situations.
It's a great point. It's not a question of, is AI good or bad? It's about how we use this power and what safeguards we put in place.
And that brings us back to the importance of public discussion and debate.
It does, yeah.
Platforms like X are vital for creating spaces, where these issues can be talked about.
They are.
And where we can hear different perspectives.
We're seeing experts, policymakers, artists, everyday people, everyone weighing in. And that's encouraging. It means people are realizing that the future of AI isn't being decided just by a few people in Silicon Valley. It's a shared responsibility.
But it can't just be talk, right?
No.
We need action.
We do. We need to see actual steps being taken to develop ethical guidelines for AI, to create tools to reduce bias. And we need to promote AI literacy, among everyone.
Because at the end of the day, AI is a reflection of us, our values, our choices.
If we want AI to be a force for good, we have to be very intentional about how we design and develop and use it.
Okay, let's dive back into some specific examples and see how this is all playing out.
Let's do it.
Let's go back to AI art.
Okay.
It feels like Red Panda and tools like it are raising more questions than answers at the moment.
They are.
But that's part of what makes this so fascinating.
One of the most interesting things is how it's blurring the lines between human and machine creativity.
Uh-huh.
We're seeing these really heated debates about, who gets the credit when an AI makes a piece of art.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
Is it the person who programmed the AI?
Yeah.
The person who gives it the prompts? Or is it the AI itself?
Right. Those are some deep philosophical questions.
It makes you wonder if we need to rethink what authorship even means.
It really does. And then there are practical concerns too, like how do we handle copyright when AI can create images that look so similar to existing artwork?
Right.
It's a legal minefield that we're still trying to figure out.
It sounds like AI is really shaking things up legally.
It is.
And not just in the art world.
Right. But in the middle of all this uncertainty, there's also this sense of excitement. There are artists who are embracing AI.
Yeah.
They're using it as a creative partner.
Yeah.
They're using things like Red Panda to push their own artistic boundaries.
I read this interview with a digital artist who called Red Panda their digital muse. They said it helps them explore different styles and techniques without having to spend years mastering them.
Right.
It's like having a partner who's always pushing you to try new things.
It's like AI is making creativity accessible to everyone.
I love that idea. But even for artists who are okay with using AI, there are still ethical considerations.
Of course. One concern is that AI art could just reproduce existing biases and stereotypes. We have to be careful, or AI could end up reinforcing harmful representations and limiting diversity in the art world.
That's such an important point. We need to make sure that the data used to train these AI models is diverse and representative.
Absolutely.
And that we're actively promoting inclusivity in how these tools are developed and used.
It's all about recognizing that technology is never neutral. It reflects the values and biases of the people who make it and use it.
And it's not just about the artists.
Right.
It's about the impact on the entire art market and how we experience and appreciate art as a whole.
There are some worries that AI art could devalue the work of human artists, but some argue that it could actually make the art world more democratic, making it easier for everyone to create and share their work.
It's complex. No easy answers.
Yeah.
One thing's for sure, AI is changing the art world in a big way.
It is. And this is a conversation that we need to have.
It is.
And it's happening right now on platforms like X. That's where artists and technologists and art lovers are coming together to explore the possibilities and the challenges of AI art.
Let's look closer at some of those conversations. What are some of the most interesting ones you've seen on X?
One that really stood out was the whole idea of AI as a muse. Instead of seeing AI as a threat to creativity, some artists are welcoming it as a source of inspiration. They're using AI tools to get new ideas and explore new styles. Almost like having a creative partner that challenges them and helps them see things differently.
So instead of replacing human creativity, AI is enhancing it.
Exactly. It's about humans and machines working together in a way that benefits both.
Yeah.
But we have to make sure those collaborations are fair.
Right. We need to make sure AI isn't being used to take advantage of artists.
Yes. Especially those who are new to the technology or who are already working in tough conditions.
Transparency and ethical practices are key.
Absolutely. We need to build a culture of respect and collaboration between human and machine creators, recognizing the value that each brings.
This is also thought-provoking. The future of art in the age of AI is still being written.
It is.
And it's up to us to shape it.
Well said. That brings us to the end of part 2 of our deep dive. Next time, we'll go back to AI and emergency response and talk about how it's being used to save lives and build stronger communities.
Join us then as we explore how AI is helping us prepare for and respond to disasters and talk about the ethical challenges that come with this powerful technology. And we're back for the final part of our AI deep dive. From elections to art, we've seen how AI is already changing things.
It really is.
And now we're going to explore where AI's impact is literally life or death. Emergency response.
Yeah, the stakes are high. And AI is really stepping up. It can analyze data in a way humans just can't. Everything from weather to sensor readings to social media, even satellite images.
We talked about Hurricane Christy before, but it sounds like AI is being used in real disasters right now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
To help authorities get ahead of things and respond faster.
Exactly. Like Hurricane Otis that just hit the Pacific coast. AI was huge in figuring out the storm's path and strength, which meant they could give better evacuation orders and put resources in the right places. That kind of prediction can really save lives.
It's like having a sixth sense, right?
Yeah.
Knowing where a disaster will hit hardest and who needs the most help.
Yeah.
But with so much at stake, there's got to be a lot of pressure to make sure these AI systems are reliable.
Oh, for sure. There is huge potential for AI to help in emergencies. But there are also big risks if we don't do it right. Like, one big challenge is making sure these systems aren't biased.
Right.
Because if the data used to train the AI is skewed, it could end up prioritizing some communities over others.
Yeah, and that's not fair at all, especially during a crisis.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to have diverse teams developing and testing these systems, to make sure they're designed to help everyone equally.
Diversity and inclusivity are so important.
They really are. Another thing is accessibility. These tools need to be available to everyone.
Right.
Not just people with the latest tech. Because in a disaster, the hardest people to reach are often the most vulnerable, and technology can either help us reach them or make it even harder.
It's a good reminder that AI can't fix everything on its own.
It can't.
It's got to be part of a bigger plan, one that tackles those deeper problems and puts the needs of the most vulnerable people first.
Exactly. And we have to remember, AI should help humans, not replace them.
Especially in emergencies.
Right. It's a tool to support decisions, not make them for us.
So it seems like we've still got a ways to go before AI is just seamlessly part of emergency response.
We do.
But the progress we've made is pretty amazing.
It is. And platforms like X are so important for these conversations. It's where experts and policymakers and community leaders and everyday people can come together and share their perspectives and shape the future of AI in this area.
When we look back on everything we've talked about today, it's clear AI is having a huge impact on, every part of life.
It really is.
We've seen how it can both strengthen and weaken democracy.
Right.
Revolutionize art and challenge what it means to be creative.
And it can change how we deal with disasters.
Totally.
AI is really powerful. It can change the world for good or bad. I think the biggest takeaway is that we can't just sit back and watch.
Right.
We got to be part of these conversations. We got to demand transparency from the people developing these technologies.
Yeah.
And push for AI that's developed responsibly and ethically.
With human well-being as the top priority.
Exactly.
It's been an amazing journey exploring all of this with you. Thanks for sharing your insights and expertise.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all of you listening, thank you for joining us on this deep dive. The future of AI is being shaped right now.
It is.
And we all have a role to play.
Absolutely. Stay curious, stay informed, and stay engaged.
And remember, the power of AI is in our hands. Let's use it wisely.